Hey, welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and in this video, I'll be showing you every single step you need to run a successful TikTok ad. So this isn't just going to be a little high-level hand-wavy video. This is going to be an in-depth tutorial where I start off by showing you how to connect to a store. I'm going to be using Shopify. Then I'll show you how to set up your TikTok ads account. Then I'll show you a proven formula, step by step, exactly what to say in your video. So I'm going to show you the proven formula of how to make a successful ad. And then we'll talk about the future, what to do beyond that. Once you make an ad, how do you do A/B testing? How do you look into the analytics, figure out what works, and how to actually optimize? Because ultimately, that is going to be the key element in being successful online when you're selling something, is making good ads. And if you think about it, if you go out there, you spend time, you spend effort, and you make like a not so great ad. It doesn't matter how good you are at finding the right audience and targeting that ad. If it's not a good ad, you're wasting money. And so the simple effort of just what we're going to show you in this video and just structuring everything a little bit differently can drastically increase and improve your margins on your product. Because if you have people converting way better because you just said some slightly different words in your video, then that's going to change everything about your business. It could be the difference between a successful business that's thriving and booming and really growing and a totally failed business that no matter what you do, you can't find success. Okay, so running TikTok ads, number one, we actually have a way to get you some free money here, some free ads that you can run. So we reached out to TikTok and they gave us like this nice little promotion. You can go through our link. You can't find this elsewhere. And so if you go through our link, you'll be able to get up to $1,500 in free ads that you can run. So if you spend $100, they give you an additional $100 to spend on ads. So again, doubling your money, free money. If you go through our link below, you can either copy and paste the link, or you can just type in santrelmedia.com/TikTok, and that'll bring you to this page right here. So we're going to click on Get Started. We're going to make our account here. So we're going to enter an email. Now we can type in the industry. So I'm just going to say e-commerce, and we are selling. I'm going to be selling for this video maybe like a little phone charger thing. So we'll say, maybe see if there's like electronics, for example, would be a good one. Electrical appliances, sure. We have to accept this little thing, and now we can enter our state. And then we'll go to TikTok Ads Manager. Now we're going to be connecting this to Shopify in just a second, but it helps if you set up your account here first. And now between these two, I like to go with custom mode. Simplified mode is going to kind of show you less, but give you less control with that. And so custom mode, I'll show you everything you need in this video, and it's not going to be overwhelming. So we're going to click on custom mode. All right, so then we get to our advertising objective. And here you can see we have a lot of options. Reach might be great if you are running like a political campaign or otherwise just want to maximize the number of people who see this. You're trying to create awareness for whatever you're marketing. Then we have consideration. You're trying to get people to go over somewhere. And for example, traffic will just send them to your website. And then you're optimizing for how many people actually go over there. And then we have conversion. This is the one that we definitely want for this right here. So now product sales is a great option if you have a TikTok shop already set up, but we're going to go with the website conversions, just kind of keep it as generic as possible. So we are going to be selling products on Shopify, of course. Website conversions are what we're looking for. Now, Smart Performance Campaign essentially skips the entire ad group section and you go right to the ads. And then it's using a lot of its own algorithm to really figure out and automate where those ads need to go and manage the audiences like that. I'm going to leave that set to off for this video, but feel free to play around with that on a different campaign in the future. Who knows, maybe it'll perform better for you. And we scroll down to settings. Now the campaign name, everybody sets up their campaign ad group ad structure a little bit differently. For me, I'm going to name this campaign the product that we're selling because that's the only product on the site. And then I'm going to have a dash. And then I like to kind of describe what the objective is. So for this one, we're just going to do Aurora Hub dash conversions, because that's the goal here, right? Where advertising objective is for website conversions, and Aurora Hub is the product we're selling on TikTok. And then we don't have any special categories. It's not credit or housing. I'm not going to have a split test. And then we have campaign budget optimization, or CBO. And really explaining what this is, essentially you can say my budget is $50 a day, and you can have TikTok optimize based on the campaign level, the highest level. And it can say, all right, $50, this ad group, this ad is performing really well. So we're going to put more money there and a little bit less everywhere else and kind of rebalance according to what's working best from the entire campaign. The other option, if you don't have this on, would be to optimize based on the ad group level, which could basically say, I want like $10 per ad group. And within the ad group, TikTok can say, all right, this ad's performing better than that ad. And it can essentially optimize your budget based on that level. So I'm going to leave CBO off right now. And we could set an entire campaign budget if you wanted. I recommend doing that just so you have that anyway. And I'm going to say at least $50 is what they recommend. So I'll say $50 right now. I'm going to say continue. So this is a good point to pause here and open up a new tab and go to your Shopify store. We want to connect our TikTok account, but if you don't have a Shopify store yet, or if you have some other store, that's totally fine. If you have anything else, if you're making this on Squarespace or Wix or whatever, WordPress, you can still connect TikTok. And all we want to do is have a pixel embedded in our website, so that the benefit there is that whenever somebody goes from an ad onto our website, they'll be tracked with what they actually do. Do they add it to the cart? Do they make a purchase? And this is going to allow us to optimize our ads based on what actually happens. Not just how many people click over to our website, but how many people convert into a final sale. So with that being said, let's start off on my store. The first thing we want to do is on the left side, click on sales channels. And now we're going to look for TikTok. So you can just type in TikTok and you'll see right there. 4.8 stars, plenty of people using this, and we are going to install this onto our Shopify store. This is going to be essentially a sales channel. It's going to be an app, something that we can use to connect our Shopify and do less on the back end. It does a lot of the work for us, and so all we really have to do is go down here. You can read through these things. I recommend reading through them on your own time, but I'm going to click on Add Sales Channel. So I'm going to click on Set Up Now next to Grow Your Business on TikTok. We're going to set it up now. We're going to click on Connect. And now we're going to sign into our TikTok for Business. It's the exact password that we just made on that account. I'm going to click Login. And then right here, before we click Connect, double check that the user ID is correct. So if you go over to TikTok, you'll see that should match exactly. Then TikTok Ads Manager, we can just click on Connect right here. And then we have data sharing. I like to keep this on maximum so we can have as much information as possible when we're trying to optimize here. Then we can click on Create Pixel. It'll make a new TikTok pixel that'll be tracking everything on our website. All right, now we have our account connected and our pixel set up. Let's go back to TikTok, that same tab, the same page we were on, and let's continue where we left off. I'm going to say continue, and that will bring us to our ad group level. Now, the ad group, for me, I'm going to be targeting, you can see the available audience on the right side right now is very broad. I want to target a more affluent audience. I want to target, not everyone's going to do this, by the way. Every product is different, but for me, I'm going to call this disposable dash income. That is the group that I'm looking for. And we can choose optimization location. So what are we optimizing for? The TikTok pixel. So if we have a TikTok pixel, which we do, it's going to show up right here. I accidentally created two because I wasn't recording the first time. So we are the first one. I'm just going to select that one, and you should only have one on yours. So TikTok pixel for Shopify, it'll have some number there. And then the optimization event. You can have different things. You could say you want to optimize for people who add it to your cart, complete payment, add the payment information, a lot of different things you could optimize for. For me, I'm going to say complete payment. We want to advertise for people who actually convert to sales. Then the placements, we can choose manual or automatic placements. This is going to be, so if we just click on the little advanced strategy here, we can say select placements. For example, TikTok and the other two apps that we have down here, I'm going to deselect these, make sure we're only placing on TikTok. And search results, I highly recommend including that as well, because a lot of people, there's actually a very recent study that came out showing a very, very large group of people who now use TikTok as their primary search engine, which showing up in search results could be a really great way to convert. I recommend not excluding that. Then we can go down here and choose user comments. Comments are totally fine. I'm going to leave those on. I think it's usually not a good sign if you disable those, but of course, everybody runs ads differently, so maybe you don't want that on. Video download, I will disable this because I don't want people essentially just downloading our ad and then running it as their own. It's basically stealing our content. Video sharing, totally fine. That could be a great way to get some earned media, which is something that's a term that people use when you essentially get free exposure that you're not paying for. So if we make a really great ad and then people like this and they share it with their friend and say, hey, you might want to buy this, that's obviously a feature that we would want to have enabled to let them do that. And then of course we have targeting. Now we don't have a saved audience right now. You can make a saved audience in the future, but we're going to go down to demographics. First of all, location, United States, that makes sense for what I'm doing. You could add other ones too. If you ship to like the UK or Canada, add them down here as well. Gender, I'm not gonna choose gender. I think all is just fine. But if you have something that's very obviously targeting one gender, maybe it'd make more sense for you to advertise based on that. But keep in mind, advertising to both could be great. So if you have something that's probably more in line with a female audience, maybe a male audience would be good to advertise to around like Christmas or the holiday season, as it could be potentially a good gift for their significant other. As far as age goes, I'm going to select everybody except the youngest demographic. I don't want to advertise to children, and also they obviously don't have nearly as much disposable income anyway, so I'm not going to have that. Then we have languages. This is only going to be in English, so I'm just going to select English. Don't even bother advertising to other languages because it just wouldn't make sense to ads in English. Then we can choose spending power. I want high spending power. And household income, I'm going to say we want top 25 to 50% of zip codes. So it's going to be a little bit more affluent, but we're not narrowing it down too much. It is somewhat narrow. You can see on this little bar on the top right, but again, not the narrowest thing ever. And then as far as audience goes, I'm not going to choose anything there. I'm not going to choose the behaviors because I think TikTok does a really good job of optimizing that on its own. But if you wanted to say, hey, like this is obviously something related to tech and electronics, we could say that. It's going to narrow it down a little bit more, but it kind of gives TikTok a head start on where to start running the ads. So it's not just doing like a blanket ad going everywhere and then like wasting money, at least in the very beginning. But maybe it helps to say something broad like tech and electronics. As far as device goes, you could have Android or iOS. That could be useful if you have an app, for example, that you're marketing that only is available on one OS. Or you could say device model. Maybe this is like you're selling phone cases for the iPhone. Well, you could advertise specifically to iPhone users of a specific model as well. So you could advertise your iPhone 15 case to people using an iPhone 15, which is pretty powerful. You can also choose the connection type. Again, if it's something that users would download, maybe you want it to be on Wi-Fi so that they're more likely to download it and they're not going to be bogged down by slow data or limits on their data or anything like that. And as you can see, there's really quite a lot that you can do here. You could save this as a new audience as well. So if you want to use the same audience on other ad groups in the future, you could save it and just say this ad group is, you could say this audience is going to be wide disposable income. We could save that. And we could choose our daily budget. I'm going to say $50 because that was the campaign budget anyway. It recommends $70 to optimize your conversions. For the purposes of this video, I'm just going to do $50. Feel free to do a little bit more than that if you want, but I recommend not doing too much in the beginning until you start to really optimize it and figure out what works best. This is really just a learning experience for the first couple days or even first week. And then after you start to really get some data and figure out what's working, you can start to really put more money behind the things that are actually being successful. And then the bidding and optimization, again, this is targeting conversions. That's what we already know. And we can have either maximum delivery or a cost cap. So I'm just going to leave it on maximum delivery. So let's click next. So now we get to the third tier, which is ads. Now, I don't recommend smart creative ads right now. I think we're going to make our own that could be a lot better than some auto-generated video. So let's go with our own. Now, here we have ad name. So I'm going to call this one. So we're going to have a lot of ads within this ad group. So Aurora Hub dash Mike, because I'll be the one making this ad. Maybe we'll have other people make some similar ads. So I like to have the name of it as well. And we're going to have captions. We're going to have captions on this ad. So we want to add captions in that so we know which ad this actually is. Now we're going to set custom identity. Call this Aurora Hub. We can choose a logo. The ad format is going to be a single video, and you could add it from your library. You could create a new one right now, or what we're going to do is actually upload one. So we're going to upload that in just a second. I'm going to talk about how I make it as well, but let's kind of go down and just make a couple other things right here. We can add a disclaimer if there's any kind of legal risk or anything like that you need to add, and we could choose where the destination actually is. So TikTok Instant Page, you could do that. I'm not going to do that. We have a custom URL. So let's go back to our Shopify page, go to products. We'll click on this right here, which is the product, and then we can go to view. So this is our product page. I'm just going to copy that and we can paste that URL right here. And I recommend clicking on preview. It'll open it in a new tab just to make sure this is the right page you're going to. That looks good to me. This is the page I wanted. So we'll close out of this and we're back to the TikTok ad. So scrolling down, we have tracking, which is all optional stuff. I'm not going to do any of that right now, but let's actually get into how you would go about making a TikTok ad. All right, so let's just say we're going to make an ad about my water bottle right here. This is the Lark bottle. It's a cool water bottle, so it's going to be pretty easy to make an ad about. There's really 3 steps you want to do. The first step is going to be called the hook. This is going to be your first sentence that captures their attention, and you want to do a couple things with this sentence. For one, you want to make sure that you're interrupting the pattern. Pattern interrupt means essentially people are going through TikTok and it's all the same stuff, and then yours is different. It stands out. It says something to them, or it has a better quality, or something about your video is going to be slightly different, and your hook is going to be what captures their attention. Some of the ways that we like to do this is generally like breaking common knowledge is a really easy and common way to do this. So if I'm making an ad about the Lark bottle here, just for reference, this bottle has like a little LED in the top, a little UV light, so it sanitizes it. So maybe my first sentence would be, drinking out of a reusable bottle is way worse than you think, and yet nobody is talking about it, right? So that's kind of a bold claim. Everybody assumes that you're going from disposable water bottles to reusable, and that would be a good thing, right? So you're kind of busting that and saying it's actually really dangerous. And then that brings us into part 2 of 3. This is going to be where you tell a story. Now, you don't want to tell like a 45-second story starting off with, first I did this, then I did that, and then this happened, because that's going to be a really boring story, and people have a short attention span. So you want to tell the story in about 2 sentences. So going back to the Lark bottle, maybe I would say, I used to drink out of a regular water bottle until I read this article from the CDC about how dangerous they actually are, and that made me change my perspective and switch to this bottle right here. And remember, your story is really supposed to be an empathetic story, focusing on the pain points of the user, things that they don't like in their everyday life. Maybe a different example, instead of talking about how dangerous unsanitary bottles are, maybe you instead say like, it was really gross that water bottles smelled moldy, and this fixes it. Like, you could have different variations of the ad, but more or less you want to focus on the pain points that a user has and tell an empathetic story. So now we're about 3 sentences in. We probably have their attention a little bit better by now. So we want to tell that story again, but tell it as about a 4-sentence story. So a little bit longer now and a little bit more detail, but don't say exactly the same stuff. And so now you might say something like, I always assumed you could just put your water bottle in the dishwasher and it'd be fine, but the scientists in that article talked about how even after just a couple hours, a water bottle can start to grow very harmful bacteria that can cause digestive problems, it could cause reproductive problems, and even neurological problems. And that got me pretty worried. So I did some research, I looked into it, and I found this water bottle right here. And this bottle changed everything for me. It actually cleans itself, so not only do I not have to worry about this being dangerous, it also is always clean. I don't have to throw in the dishwasher all the time. My water is always purified, and the way it works is from this really cool cap. You have an LED in there, it shines UV light in once every 3 minutes to automatically sanitize the entire bottle. Okay, so that was like a slightly longer story telling what the pain point was, how you led to this, and then what the solution actually is. And then you want to maybe wrap up with one more shorter sentence, maybe an anecdote. This one's kind of optional. You could just go straight to step 3 if you wanted. And then part 3 is going to be your conversion. You're going to teach about the product. You're going to do a call to action, trying to get people to actually go and click the link and consider buying your product. So how does the bottle work? Well, it looks like a regular water bottle. It's actually really insulated and high quality as well. And then in the cap, which looks like a regular sized cap, there's actually a lot of technology. So we have a button on the top that can manually enable the UV light, which when you flip it over, you can see the little LED right there that shines the light into the bottle that kills all the bacteria in there. And there's 2 different modes of this. There's the automatic maintenance mode, which just cleans it once every couple minutes. And then there's the full disinfect mode. That's what I was using in the Dominican Republic. When you double press this, it does a deep clean of your whole bottle using that light. And it's rechargeable with the USB cable. So super easy to travel with. And then of course, get into your call to action. So if you're still drinking out of a regular gross water bottle, this is your call to upgrade to a Lark bottle. This thing is so much better, changed the way I look at water and think about sanitation. And you can actually get one for free with the buy one, get one free promotion we're running until this weekend if you use code Mike and click on the button below to buy yours now. So that's just one quick example I came up with off the top of my head for an ad that I might run for this bottle, but there's a lot of different angles and approaches you could take, and I recommend making a lot of variations to test all of them to see which one actually performs the best. For a product like this, I might make 6 to 12 different variations of that, like different scripts, different ads entirely, and just see which one actually converts the best with totally different narratives on all of them. And another thing to note is that even though I'm filming right now on a professional camera with a professional microphone, I've had some of my best content ever filmed with just like a phone. So now that we have that filmed, I recommend going to CapCut.com and downloading this software. It's free to use. It's actually made by ByteDance, which is the same company that makes TikTok. So this is going to be the easiest way to edit content to put on a TikTok ad. And there's a lot of have really cool AI software on the back end. So not only can you put in your files and just kind of cut everything together, there's also a full AI caption tool. So some variations of an ad, you might want to have captions on screen. Some variations, maybe you don't. Some maybe you want music. You can manage all of that in CapCut. And there's a lot of great tutorials out there showing you how to do that. All right, so back to TikTok. I'm going to click on upload right here. I'm just going to drag a file over. And now we can rename this file to whatever we want. This can be, we can rename the file to whatever we want, larkbottlead1.mp4. We're going to call it that. We're going to upload. And now it'll be uploading that. And while this is uploading, another format you could use is the tech review format. So if you have a product like this, I would recommend looking at other tech reviews that are doing well and kind of emulating that format a little bit. So right now, maybe you'd want to start off with saying like, this is the Lark bottle. And then kind of getting into like what it does, what it solves, and why it's so cool. And like maybe that would be a very good way that resonates in a very familiar sense with a lot of audience out there. And so for the text here, I'm just going to say reusable bottles are worse than you think, introducing Lark. That's kind of just what we're going to go with right now. Customize call to action. So down here, you can choose what is going to happen. And then if we have any interactive add-ons, we can create them. So for example, if you have a discount code, I did mention like discount code Mike would be buy one, get one free or something. You can go and like this one right here would add that. So we can say create, that'll add it into our video. I'm not going to do that right now for this one. Again, we don't have disclaimer. Everything else looks good. And then we can say submit. So if we submit this, it's going to go to review. So we'll say submit. And then we can add our payment method. So this ad will actually run. TikTok will process your payment. It says creating ad, and then TikTok is going to review this. Once it's approved, it will run automatically. It's all set up. So we can go back to campaigns now, and you'll be able to manage everything right here. So we've got our campaign, our ad group, and our ad. Okay, so currently it is in review, like I said, and you can turn things on or off. You can also create new ones, or if you wanted to maybe duplicate that, you could just say copy. So we could select it, we could say copy, and this will make a copy of that same thing, and we can make some subtle variations in that, maybe some different text on there, maybe a link to a different page on the site, a lot of different options we have there. Same thing with ads, same thing with campaign. We've got plenty of variations with all of these just by copying them, and it really saves you a lot of work from having to go through that whole process again. But that's essentially how you'd go about setting up TikTok ads, connecting it to your Shopify store, and hopefully making a successful ad. I wish you the best. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. Thanks for watching. I'm Michael Bryan from Santrel Media, and I'll see you in the next one.